Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider.
These are good problems to have, right? So much success that you have more than one place to be.
5-3, touchdown, Oregon.
Off a dribble, launches, and hits the three. Oregon leads.
What a great opportunity it is to be able to play at University of Oregon.
I'm just incredibly proud to be a part of something like this.
She wants another three. Oh, three in a row.
Oregon is headed to the Super Regional.
Big Ten champions, your Oregon Ducks.
We are so privileged and so fortunate. We get to see all these young people. We get to see this incredible growth, which is what college is all about.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
It is a women's basketball victory celebration day on Duck Insider. Also now getting ready for the continuation of Boilermaker Week here at the University of Oregon. So I mentioned yesterday that I think the Boilermakers, it's one of the more underrated mascots in sports. Talk about a unique mascot. Like, this is no tiger or bulldog or what's the other one that comes up all the time? I guess huskies are very common. What, Scott? I said tigers. Was the first thing I said. Tiger, he's not listening. Eagles, I guess, comes up at times. But really, like, I think it's the most, like, across, like, all sports, it's like tigers are the most used, and then bulldogs are one of the most used mascots. Find me another Boilermaker out there, right? Sure, there's locomotives. Sure, there's trains, or I don't know, whatever. But the point is, this is a unique mascot. But then I made the tongue-in-cheek comment, like, that everyone around here and a couple alumni of Purdue have said, well, you ready for the Boilers? And I'm like, like a crab boil? Like, that's not, to me, that is, no. The Boilermaker is what makes it the fun mascot. Well, I got an email on the subject that I would just like to read parts of, and said, you know, I got to admit this was a friend of mine who sent this email. But the genesis of the email was that conversation. He said, I actually think that the boiling water might be the best mascot that no one's using. I disagree. I just wholeheartedly disagree. I can't imagine the uniform with a pot of boiling water being all that intimidating. But the Boilermaker logo with the train just crashing through the uniform, I'm a fan. Boilermaker Week continues at the University of Oregon with men's basketball taking on the Boilers. See, I don't like that. With men's basketball taking on Purdue at noon on Saturday, 11:30 pregame show with myself and Luke Jackson. Women's basketball, though, with a 69-53 win. They were out to a 15-11 lead in the first quarter. And then the second quarter, I'll be honest, I kind of locked in for the second quarter after that was the period of the game that hurt the Ducks against Ohio State. They outscored Purdue 20-12, extended the lead in the third 17-13 in that quarter, and then it was a 17-17 fourth quarter where Oregon won 69-53. One player in double figures for Purdue. 3 players in double figures for Kelly Graves Ducks, who shot 45% from the floor, attempted 10 more shots than Purdue over the course of this game, shot 29% from 3. The Ducks forced 23 Purdue turnovers in this contest. Oregon generated 25 points off those turnovers. I feel like when Oregon, we were talking about this yesterday with Elisa Mevius, the menace, talking with Chris Clayton, like when the Ducks take care of the ball, and when Oregon generates turnovers, that's probably when, like a lot of teams, but I think particularly for this women's basketball team, that's when they're at their best. Because I think the Ducks would tell you that they haven't shot from 3 as well as they would like this season. 29% is not bad, but 5 of 17 compared to 5 of 20 for Purdue. Sure, you shot better than your opponent, but I think the Ducks would like to shoot the ball a little bit better. Well, when the shot isn't going in, what does every coach tell you? You got to play good defense. You have to force turnovers. You give yourself those extra possessions, and that's what the Ducks did. Oregon lost the rebounding battle in this game, actually, but still attempted 10 more shots than Purdue. That's a formula for success, particularly if that three ball isn't going in. And Oregon was able to go deeper into the bench because they were outscoring Purdue and consistently pulled away. The largest lead that they had was a 20-point lead, and they won 69-53. Peyton Scott continues to be just a real, for lack of a better phrase, leader for this team. Had 12 points. Did it with 3 rebounds, also had 3 assists. Philly Che was 1 rebound shy of a double-double, went for 12 and 9, and was 6 of 7 from the floor. The efficiency, I mean, at times, and sure, there are post players that can give Philly problems, but how many times have we all, as fans of this team, just seen the Ducks, Peyton Scott, whether it be her or Deja Kelly or whoever, throw the ball inside? And Philly Che just goes to work and makes it look so easy because she's just got such a great touch around the basket. And I caught myself thinking about this last night, and I hope that when we have Philly in the studio, we're able to talk with her about this. But if you look at someone who has developed and just gotten so much better, even with the injury earlier in the season where she's worked to get back into basketball shape, you just look at what she was when she first got here. I think a really raw talent who hadn't played a lot of basketball, but certainly had the skill set. You could see it. And now the ability that she has to finish around the rim. As Oregon was dominant in this game in large part because of Philly, I couldn't help but think, like, what a great story that has become over the course of her entire career. And what a great example of you find the right situation. And certainly the transfer portal, I think, has been a good thing for college athletics. It's a great thing for student athletes to have the opportunity to change their path if they need to, if they want to. Well, Philly has been here and developed with this program. And I think about Jody Berry, who anytime you watch Oregon women's basketball practice, Jody Berry is always the one who's working with the post. And just the amount of credit that I think she, the other assistants, and Coach Graves deserves for Philly's development, really cool story and a great example of how someone who stays and works, it pays off. I couldn't help but think about that as she went for near a double-double, and it seems like she's doing this every night now for Oregon women's basketball. The leading scorer, though, was Deja Kelly. 15 points, 7 of 15 shooting, 1 of 3 from 3, also had a couple of rebounds. The Ducks did spread the wealth with those 3 players in double figures. If you're Oregon women's basketball and you're sitting at this point in the season, if we told you with all of the transfers and the turnover that the Ducks had, if I told you that the Ducks would be 4-3 in Big Ten play, they'd be sitting at 13-5. They're probably in the NCAA tournament if it started today. And now it's part of a critical 3-game homestand for the Ducks after that long road trip where the Oregon men and the Oregon women were both in Columbus and both in State College. You're seeing a team, I think, that's coming into its own. They're 11-1 at home after beating Purdue. And I feel like that's going to continue to be a point of emphasis for both head coaches. The Duck men have lost 2 games at home. Got 2 close ones on the road against Penn State and Ohio State. Well, similarly, Oregon women's basketball, you got to defend home court, I think, particularly in this conference. That continues to be a big deal. Now, on the less optimistic note, Nani Falatea had 8 points with 2 3-pointers before leaving with an ankle injury late in the first half. However, good news again, Coach Graves said that it didn't appear to be serious. And then, similarly, some good, some bad here. Katie Fiso did rejoin the team following a family matter. Coach Graves had mentioned that her grandfather had passed. That's just devastating for the Fiso family. She missed her 2nd straight game, but was on the bench with her teammates, and it was great to see Katie Fiso back at Matthew Knight Arena with the team. Ducks made, also, good news, at least 5 3-pointers for the 2nd time in their last 6 games. Now, if they can get that 3-point streak a little bit more efficient, I come back to that. If you're generating turnovers and you're able to hit that 3-point shot, boy, look out for what Kelly Graves' team can do. Now, they are back at home for an extended period of time, it feels like here, because they play Sunday at home, and then next Friday they play at home. And with that 2 o'clock tip-off against Iowa, it's part of a celebration from Women in Flight, National Girls and Women in Sports Day. You can come out to that Women in Flight camp before Sunday's game against Iowa. The camp begins at 12:30 p.m. at Matthew Knight Arena. More info and to register, goducks.com/NGWSD. goducks.com/NGWSD. Part of Women in Flight, the O Heroes program. And at this camp, tons of Oregon female student athletes will be there from all different sports, not just basketball. All different sports will be featured at the National Girls and Women in Sports Day camp. Kids, all kids, I should say, 6th grade and under, it's free. A free opportunity to hang out with a bunch of Oregon women's basketball and Oregon student athletes at Matthew Knight Arena. There's more info, goducks.com/NGWSD. There's a chance to purchase tickets for the game. More info. There's a waiver to sign. This is going to be fun. It actually, I got to be honest, every year now, this has happened a few years, and Women in Flight now celebrating its 10-year anniversary. This camp leads to some of the most wholesome images that you will see throughout the athletic and academic year. Just the smiles on faces, and I'm not just talking about the kids that attend this camp. I'm talking about the Oregon student athletes who participate in the camp. It's a really great opportunity for, one, the community, but two, just the student athletes and how much they love getting a chance to give back. Because those student athletes not that long ago were attending a camp like that somewhere. Pretty special. That's Sunday coming up, 12:30. The camp starts ahead of a 2 o'clock tip-off for Oregon women's basketball on Sunday against Iowa. When we come back, let's hear from Kelly Graves, post-game conversation with the Duck head coach as we break down some hoops and men's and women's tennis starting up this weekend. Tell you more about that next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys, I love this song. I love these nachos. I love our kickball league. Ugh! I love this guy. What's your name? You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Oregon Cider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. You know, on the women's basketball front, I follow along, right, a lot of the same stuff that you all do, and I've seen the coverage of Satu Sabali, Oregon alum, who's a free agent, maybe a chance to reunite with Sabrina Ionescu in New York, and who knows what could happen there. How about the fact, though, that New York might just become, maybe, New York might just become Oregon Ducks, the pro team, with Nyara Sabali and maybe Satu Sabali, and it could be a lot of fun, but I also just hope that Satu finds a great place for all those various reasons, and has a chance to win at a high level and, look, get paid, right? That's what you want if you're Satu Sabali. But I've seen all of the coverage, and I've been thinking about it from the women's basketball alumni front, and just how cool it is to see that pro League One continue to grow and get more popular. But two, the fact that you've got some Ducks that are the faces of that growth and popularity. Sabrina Ionescu might be one of the most popular athletes, not just WNBA players, but athletes in the country and the world. And Satu Sabali brings so much with her game, and I don't know, it's just been fun to follow and see what could happen, especially with the WNBA coming to Portland. That's going to be a lot of fun. Now, back to Oregon women's basketball of the current day, of the present. Kelly Graves met postgame and talked with the media about the win over Purdue. A solid win, 69-53, as the Ducks moved to a 13-5 record. I was going to say 11 because it's 11-1 at home. A 13-5 record and 4-3 in Big Ten play. Coach Graves, postgame.
Anyway, not our prettiest win, but I credit Purdue. They were really physical tonight. They played really hard. They started knocking down some shots late, but all in all, it's a pretty good effort for us. You know, we've struggled a couple times in the second quarter in conference, and this was a really good second quarter. We kind of flipped the tables a little bit. But it was a good effort overall. You know, I think turnovers were the key. I don't know what we got off turnovers. 25 points off turnovers. You know, we've been doing a nice job. It's really kind of funny because we're not an in-your-face kind of super athletic defense, but we just kind of get hands on a lot of balls, and we did a good job there. So it was a good win. It's a good win. It's an important homestand for us, so we want to continue and keep that momentum going. All right, fire away, guys.
At times you've been looking for maybe more from your seniors, but the three there, Deja and Peyton and Philly, kind of carried you guys offensively at times. Just speak to, you need to lean on these players, and they showed up that way. Yeah, well, we just weren't that fluid tonight offensively, so it was nice that those guys stepped up. Yeah, Deja was good. Scotty got us off to a great start. And then Philly is, she's coming. She's become more and more of a factor, especially at the defensive end, too. She got a couple of blocks, and, she's just making a difference there. But wasn't super clean, Sometimes those games are a little ugly.
Is there an early update on Nani?
Yeah, it was her ankle, which is good. Ankles heal. If you've ever done an ankle, you know how painful they can be. And if it's your first one, you think your world's ending. I think it was pretty painful for her. She's a tough kid. Married a football player, man. I hope she's tough. Hopefully she'll be fine. Yeah. And we didn't really need her, and I thought the other kids stepped up and did a good job. Ari came in, did a good job. We didn't have Katie tonight. I think she'll be available next game. She's had kind of a hard couple of weeks here, but we'll get her back, and hopefully we're at full strength when Iowa comes into town.
Yeah, you forced 17 first-half turnovers. Right? You already mentioned it a little bit, but what do you think was the catalyst for forcing all of those?
Well, a lot of it, I don't think they handled the pressure that well. I mean, it's not like we were really forcing them. We're just kind of in passing lanes. And we've got a little bit of length, Elisa, Mina, Philly, they're a little bit longer, so they get hands on a lot of balls. They did a much better job in the second half. They handled our little three-quarter court trap much better. What'd they have in the second half? Just 6 turnovers? Yeah, so they handled it better, and that's why we were never really able to get out in that second half and go. Second half offensively was, we were fairly efficient, but just kind of seemed like we were on a struggle bus a little bit.
Do you feel like the first quarter was sort of shaking off the jet lag a little bit?
Maybe. That was tough. It was a long trip, and we had, we took Monday off and practiced just one day. We only had 1 day of preparation for these guys. And so, yeah, I think there was a little bit of that. First quarter's been really good to us. I think we've led in at least 5 of the 6 first quarters going into this game. So it's actually that unit's been strong, but we just were a little off tonight. I don't know. I don't want to make excuses, but that could well be.
What did you think of Deja, finding her confidence and her stroke, I guess, in the third quarter?
Yeah, well, that's what she does. I mean, she's got that great mid-range, that little pull-up, and at times she just gets a little bit too deep, nowhere to go, and she's not the tallest player, so sometimes it's hard among those trees, and she, puts up some of the floaters and stuff. I know she's gotten away with that in the past, but, man, if she's just money on those pull-ups and did a great job, so... to Eric's point earlier, his question, I think just our seniors did a really good job tonight. I credit them a lot. I'm proud of our team. We played hard and continue to defend. I mean, we're holding teams in the 50s and low 60s pretty consistently, forcing a lot of turnovers. So that's going to do well for us ultimately, or in the long run.
Nani came in and was sort of instant offense, and then she has the injury and goes down pretty quickly. You touched on it already, but how did you feel like they sort of, responded to her going out immediately and then taking back that offense that she was bringing in?
Yeah, well, we played, Deja and Peyton a little bit more than we'd normally be, without Nani. But Ari stepped in and did a good job. So, and Sophia as well. We actually went small a few times, put Sophia at the 4. But, Nani was having a really good game. She's been our most consistent three-point shooter. I think she knocked down a couple. And, so hopefully we get her back. We need that player to stretch the defense.
Yes, Peyton's come in and scored in flurries there in several first quarters throughout the year. How important is that when she kind of sets that tone in the early game, even if the rest of the team is kind of struggling to score?
Well, Peyton's, especially in the mid-range, is about as good as it gets. That is a pure shot, and she's usually right on the money. So, yeah, anytime you can have that to count on. The problem is both her and Deja. It was nice to see Deja knock down a great 3 tonight. That's awesome for her confidence. But, those two are similar in a lot of ways. They live in the mid-range, old school, Chris Paul type. And but we can always count on her. That's the great thing about Peyton. You can always just count on her. She's like that every day in practice. Probably just had to play them a little bit longer than normal. I think she tired out maybe a little bit because she's coming off an injury still. She's not 100%, but I probably played her a little bit too much tonight.
The third quarter obviously repped a little bit tighter. What do you tell your team, who's obviously setting precedent that they want to be a physical team? What do you tell them when the game's going like that?
Yeah, well, they were really physical tonight. I thought Purdue was, and they're tough as nails. We got to get in the weight room a little bit. Sometimes we get pushed around a little inside. I didn't hear the first part of the question. I'm sorry.
Was there any message that you gave to your team when the whistles are going like that?
Oh, yeah, no, there wasn't.
Look at, I know that all the focus was on this game, but any early thoughts on Iowa?
I haven't even paid any attention to them in terms of a scout. I've seen them play, and I know they're very good. And, they still shoot the 3, and they've got a great inside kid, and then they've got Lucy Olsen's one of the best players in the conference. So, they lost Caitlin, and that's a big loss. But, I think that the transfer from Villanova, Lucy's really stepped in and done a good job. They're going to be formidable. So, yeah, this is an important week for us. We got a chance to move up the standings a little bit and be more relevant in the race. And so we just got to continue to take care of business at home. But we're 11-1 at home. So that's been terrific.
Kelly Graves, Oregon women's basketball head coach. Every time we talk with a head coach, it's brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Better cancer care close to home. He started out talking about the turnovers and just – I like that type of defense from the Ducks. How can you not, right? Like they just are pretty solid defensively. Nights where Oregon hits threes. And again, this isn't unique to Oregon. Nights where anybody hits threes, it tends to feel a lot better offensively. But I think particularly for this team, just the way that they're designed, especially when Philly's inside for rebounds. changes the way that the Ducks can play when they can open up the floor and they're hitting those shots. And it's another test coming up against a good Iowa team. So when we come back, let's visit with a couple student athletes in Deja Kelly and Filipina Che. That's next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial. Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
I'll trust water bottles and a flashlight to save the day, but I'll be proved wrong.
With a tornado approaching, I'll realize that I lack a wheelchair-accessible shelter.
When the floodwaters rise, I'll be up in the attic with 20 cans of beans. It's a recipe for disaster.
Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Comes to a gun suicide attempt, all it takes is a moment.
My son, Ricky, took his life by the use of a firearm. It broke me, and I contemplated suicide. My grandson, I was going to have to be here for him. I still own my firearm. I keep it in a safe because I want to keep my grandson and myself safe.
Store your guns, locked, unloaded, and away from ammo. Hear more safe stories at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by Brady and the Ad Council.
I'm coming home to the place that I remember. Back to the land of my first love. Would you spread wide your arms for this wayward son? I left my heart in Oregon.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Oregon women's basketball getting a win, kicking off Boilermaker Week. Now, I know Iowa is next on the horizon for Oregon women's basketball, but the Ducks had a quick turnaround, actually. Remember, women's basketball had to turn around and play Wednesday. Men's basketball got days to just practice this week, and I say just practice. Let me rephrase, back up. Men's basketball practiced this week, was able to work on a few things to get ready for a big top 20 matchup with Purdue coming up on Saturday. But the point I'm making that women's basketball did have to turn the page quickly to Purdue. Coach said it wasn't their best win, their prettiest win, but you'd always take an ugly loss over a pretty win, right? Everybody will tell you that. I think that the Ducks, though, are getting better over the course of the season, and they've had to do it with ins and outs based on injuries and availabilities in the lineup. Well, Filipina Che getting more and more consistent. Deja Kelly, I think, getting more and more consistent. And if Deja Kelly can start to play at a really efficient level, boy, just like when Oregon's hitting threes, when Deja Kelly's hitting shots, and she's continued to do it at the end of games, but led the team in scoring again last night. If Deja Kelly can get better and better at that consistency, not being a volume scorer, being an efficient scorer, only ups the ante for Oregon women's basketball. Deja Kelly, Filipina Che met with the media post-game last night.
You really like you found a spot there on the court you liked in that baseline. Talk us through kind of finding that and then the comfort you had to close the game back.
Yes, that was just me trying to stay confident in my shot. You know, that mid-range is what I do. It's literally like a layup for me, so I should have been taking that from jump instead of actual layups. That's what Kelly told me. So once I got to that in the second half, and just, again, taking what they were giving me the pull-up, which, you know, once I realized that, and just knocking them down. Today was a good day.
You guys had 17 first half turnovers.
ton of points off of them. How do you keep that mentality rolling when you guys are just getting the ball like that?
Yeah, well, of course, our defense ignites our offense. We like to push. We like to get out and run. So us to force that many turnovers, we really just stuck to our game plan. We were keeping bodies in front of the ball. They were being physical on the offensive end, but I think that we matched that physicality. We were jumping and passing lanes. Yeah, I think just us, our activity on defense, definitely it helps our offense, so we want to continue to do that.
Billy, are you starting to feel kind of more like yourself? I've seen you play maybe more like the last year, play a little bit more in terms of minutes as well. Kind of where are you at physically at this point?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in the beginning of the season, I was just coming back from injury, so it just kind of took a little bit. But yeah, definitely feeling like myself again.
Yeah, Phil.
What did you make of the physicality in this game and how the team sort of matched it and stuck with it?
I mean, at first it was definitely tough, but when we went back to our locker room, we kind of talked about it, and the second half was way better.
Asia, this isn't the first game Peyton's giving you guys a lot of energy in the first quarter. I think she had 8 or 9 points there. How important is it when she comes out like that, when other people are kind of struggling to shoot for the team?
Super important. I think her hunting her shot. She's really good at finding and creating her own shot. So I think just finding her on pin downs, we're trying to get her off of ball screens, some rescreens. It was falling for her today. And again, for her coming back, she's finding her groove again, and she just brings a different energy too for us, especially when we kind of had that some empty possessions. I think that she was one that we were looking for just in that time, and she came through.
Hey, what's it like to have such a deep guard rotation for this team? Even when Nani goes out of the game, you guys still have a ton of players. How do you see that?
Yeah, I think that's something that definitely makes us different. It definitely helps us get out and run as much as we can, because you have that many bodies. You can play fast and you can exert a lot of energy because you know that you have someone else coming in ready to go, and there's no drop off from that guard spot. So I think that's really that's what makes us so versatile, and I think we're able to. Everyone's so different too. We have some floor spacers. We have some people that can get downhill. So I think it's a good dynamic to have.
Asia, what does this home stretch mean for you guys? And Kelly was just talking about how important it could be for the rest of the season to just kind of lay it out what this run means.
It's huge. I think for us to be back at home in front of our home crowd, every win in this league matters because of how tough it is. We're going to get to a pretty tougher side of our schedule. So I think for us to kind of stack these home wins and use home court advantage, I think it's huge. So I think we got one today, and we have a big one Sunday, and just continuing to try to stack wins.
Nani came in and basically provided offense right away, and then went out with an ankle injury again. I believe this is like her second ankle injury this season. What is it like seeing her go down, especially when she is kind of instant offense when you guys were struggling like you were in the first quarter?
Yeah, I think of course when anybody goes down, it's tough, but I think like we were saying, because we are so deep at the guard rotation, luckily there wasn't any drop off. But of course with Nani, whenever she comes in, it's usually always instant offense. She can space the floor for us really well, so she'll be fine. So I think for us, that's why we're not really tripping that much, because we know she'll be fine. But the next man up definitely came in and stepped up.
Well, that's a great philosophy, right? You talk about the next person up. That's what every team wants, but it's certainly more and more difficult to do, especially, again, I come back to this team has gone through the ebbs and flows of the rotation, whether it be injury, whether it be availability for whatever reason. This team has had to deal with that, and they have had different players step up in different scenarios. Oregon women's basketball picking up a nice win over Purdue. I know Coach Graves, again, said that it wasn't their prettiest win, but a 69-53 final, you're never going to apologize for that. And now the Ducks get ready for that, what is, I think, another big home game. If the Ducks win all 3 of these home games and they go 3 games above 500 in conference action, again, if you told me that heading into the season, I'd say Ducks will take it. Ducks would take it. Iowa, the next opponent, it will be on Big Plus, and of course a 1:30 pregame show with Chris Clayton and the Hall of Famer Bev Smith in Eugene. Sunday, a 1:30 pregame show. And before that, the 2025 National Girls and Women in Sports Day camp celebration for women in flight and the O Heroes program. That'll be on January 19th before the women's basketball game against Iowa at Matthew Knight Arena. 1-hour camp, free to all kids, 6th grade and under. You have a ticket to the January 19th game against Iowa. It'll be located at the Matthew Knight Arena practice courts near the east entrance. Doors to the east entrance will open at 12:30 to allow for participants to enter the arena, arrive at the practice courts. Camp will showcase Oregon varsity women's sports at the University of Oregon with representatives available from women's teams that are all there to interact with the various participants. And upon check-in, each participant will also receive a free Women in Flight poster and takeaway gift courtesy of Women in Flight and Toyota, our presenting sponsor for the National Girls and Women in Sports Day camp here at Oregon. So you can purchase tickets for the Sunday women's game, and then you just complete the waiver that is available on goducks.com/NGWSD. Come in, enjoy the camp. Kids are going to be tired. Then you watch a little women's basketball. Going to be a great day on Sunday at Matthew Knight Arena. We're going to get a timeout. When we come back, we didn't get a chance because the news broke yesterday to really relish in the honor for Haloti Ngata. We're going to do that. And speaking of posters, we have an update to our 1984 to 85 poster story. That's all coming. Stick with us. It's Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear winter, Toyota can't get enough of you because Toyota's got 25 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. And that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places. Based on manufacturer's websites as of 10/20/24.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear winter, Toyota can't get enough of you because Toyota's got 25 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. And that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places. Based on manufacturer's websites as of 10/20/24.
Back to the Country Financial Studios in 60 seconds. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
This message is for Shauna, my mom who just finished her high school diploma. I wanted to say I'm so proud of you for finishing school. You taught me it's never too late to achieve your dreams. I hope to make you as proud as you have made me.
When you graduate, they graduate. Finish your high school diploma for you and for them. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
You said you'd never buy your kid candy from the checkout aisle. Or forget extra diapers. You'd never lick your thumb to clean their face. Never, ever become a minivan mom. So when you say you'd never leave your child in a hot car, know it can happen. Cars get hot fast, and kids can be at risk in temperatures as low as 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Never happens. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
You know you make me wanna kick my heels up and throw my hands up and throw my head back and come on now. Don't forget to say you will.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. So Haloti Ngata has been announced that he will be inducted as the part of the class of 2025 into the College Football Hall of Fame. Well, yesterday we didn't get this video out yet, and this is a cool moment that I want you all to enjoy. Rob Mullins, Oregon Athletic Director, I've asked him this. He said, one of the best honors that you get as the athletic director is a chance to give a little bit of news to somebody who deserves it. The Ducks have had not just Oregon Athletics Hall of Famers to call and congratulate, but now a few college football Hall of Famers the last few years, like Michael James, and now Haloti Ngata. This is when Haloti Ngata found out. Take a listen, take a watch.
How you doing? Good. I'm doing really good.
Well, I'm hoping it's going to make you better. I got some really exciting news for you, and I'm thrilled to share it with you. Congratulations are in order. You are a member of the 2025 College Football Hall of Fame. It will be announced today. So congratulations.
That is so awesome. I just got the chills. That is so cool. Thanks for calling me.
And so, obviously, well-deserved, and we cannot wait to celebrate with you and your family. And obviously, we'll have you back for a home game to celebrate it with the fans at Autzen.
That is so awesome. Thank you for the news. That is so cool. I love that I'm able to represent Oregon and my family. I am so excited. That is so cool. Awesome. Thanks, Rob, for the news. I appreciate it.
All right, congrats.
Okay, thanks.
Take care, buddy.
I mean, he gets told he's going to be in the Hall of Fame, says he gets the chills, and then he's excited to represent Oregon. Scott Phillips said, so Scott, you were on the field shooting when Haloti was playing. Yeah? Yeah, so I thought this was the case, so I just wanted to confirm. So those of you who are watching the show, as I tell you a little bit about some of his accomplishments, a lot of the highlights that you're going to see, and those of you who are listening, you might have seen this highlight video last night on social media. Scott shot a lot of these, and Scott, and the reason I say that, Scott said it like after seeing this video. Scott goes, "What a humble guy." I mean, he might have been the true example. You hear this about athletes, but Haloti is a true example to me of the guy off the field versus the guy on the field. The guy on the field got after you and sacked the quarterback. The guy off the field is just a great person. So tell you what, it's quite an honor. 22 members in the class of 2025. Haloti Ngata, one of 18 former first-team All-Americans as part of the class. He's one of the greatest defensive players in really the history of Oregon football. He will be officially inducted during the 67th awards dinner in Las Vegas on December 9th, 2025. And Ngata becomes the 7th Oregon football player to enter the College Football Hall of Fame. The others are Norm Van Brocklin, the class of 66, John Kitzmiller in 69, John Beckett in 72, Mel Renfro in 86, running back Ahmad Rashad in 2007, LaMichael James in 2023, and then former Oregon coaches Len Casanova in 77 and Mike Bellotti in 2014 are also Hall of Fame inductees. But just that list to now include Haloti Ngata, think about how amazing that brotherhood is. Rob Mullins said, quote, Haloti Ngata's selection to the College Football Hall of Fame is a well-deserved recognition of his tremendous impact on college football and the University of Oregon football program. During his time here, Haloti was a dominant force on the field, a leader in the locker room, and a role model for all. An outstanding human being who has always represented Oregon in a first-class manner, he truly defines what it means to be an All-American, and as a 5-time Pro Bowler, he's one of the most accomplished NFL players in Oregon history. Haloti is a true Duck legend. We are proud to celebrate him, his incredible legacy, and this honor. That's Oregon Athletic Director Rob Mullins talking about Haloti Ngata. He is an elite interior defensive lineman in college football history. So, in Eugene, 35 career games, 151 career total tackles, 24 and a half of those for loss, 10 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, and how about this? Maybe one of the more underrated statistics you will find. He blocked 7 kicks. You don't see that. That's like this past year when I'm voting for the all Big Ten team, and Jordan Birch is one of the leaders in passes defended and pass breakups. What? Jordan Birch is an outside linebacker and defensive end. He just always got the hand up. Ngata burst onto the scene as a true freshman. It was the 2002 year. He was a first-team freshman All-American. 44 tackles, 7 for loss, 3.5 sacks. And his freshman year, he blocked 3 kicks. I don't know if we even keep this statistic. I'm going to have to look it up. But he has to be one of the leaders in blocked kicks in college football. I mean, you just don't see that. Then he missed the 2003 season due to injury. And then in 2004, he had 46 tackles, 8.5 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks, a pair of blocked kicks. and he was second team All Pac-10. Then he really solidified his standing as the nation's top interior defensive lineman in 2005. He was a consensus first team All-American, while also being named a finalist for both the Outland Trophy given to the top interior lineman and the Nagurski Trophy given to the top defensive player. Originally from Salt Lake City, Nada became the first Duck to be named the Conference Defensive Player of the Year in 2005. He also won the Morris Trophy, that's given to the Pac-10's top defensive lineman, had a career high of 61 tackles, 9 tackles for loss, and 3 sacks, 2 more blocked kicks in that final year. He was drafted by the Ravens, 12th overall pick in the 2006 NFL Draft, the first interior defensive lineman off the board, went on to play 13 years in the National Football League. He won a Super Bowl with the Ravens before also having stints with the Lions and the Eagles, was named to the Pro Bowl 5 times, first team All-Pro honors twice, second team All-Pro honors 3 times, and was selected to the Pac-10's All-Century team. Inducted into Oregon's Athletic Hall of Fame in 2016, and he also appears in the Ravens Ring of Honor. Beyond football, made a significant impact with his wife through the Haloti Nada Foundation. He and Christina have done great work, focuses on supporting at-risk youth, gang prevention, and providing college preparation resources. Congratulations to someone who really deserves it, Haloti Nada, a college football Hall of Famer. Shout out, Haloti Nada. Outstanding. And I come back to, he finds out this honor, and he said, I'm just so happy to represent the University of Oregon. How cool is that to hear? How cool is that? Upcoming this weekend, men's tennis and women's tennis both getting rolling. Let's begin on the women's side. They open the 2025 spring season with a Friday doubleheader at the Student Tennis Center. First, taking on in-state foe Portland State at 10:30, followed by a matchup with Montana at 3:30. That'll be the first one of the spring for the Ducks against Portland State on Friday at 10 a.m., and then 3:30 for the doubleheader against Montana. Now seventh-year head coach Courtney Nagel bringing back 4 letter winners from last year's team, in addition to adding 6 newcomers, 4 freshmen, 2 transfers. The Ducks are coming off a strong fall campaign. Team posted a combined 20-9 doubles record, went 25-20 in singles over 3 events. 6 of the 7 athletes that played during the fall finished with a 500 singles record or better. 8 of 9 doubles pairings achieved that mark. And then 3 incoming freshmen joined the program for the spring season, including a couple that are international, one from Australia. Oregon is 27-0 all-time against Portland State, beat the Vikings 7-0 to open the 2024 spring season. Sides will meet for the 6th straight year, Friday's match being the 4th straight in a season opener. Oregon and Montana will meet for the first time since 2019. Ducks defeated the Grizzlies 4-1 in Eugene, and Oregon holds a 5-0 all-time record. All matches at the Student Tennis Center, open to the public, and we hope to see everyone at the Student Tennis Center. Might even be outside here sooner than later. It's cold here in Eugene, but it's been sunny the last few days. Now, on the men's tennis side, the Ducks open the season on Sunday, hosting Santa Clara in the Student Tennis Center. Oregon returns a slew of Ducks from last year's lineup, including a pretty stacked field for Nils Schielander. They were young in the fall. I think they're feeling a little bit more like veterans heading into the spring season. Admission to all the men's tennis matches also free. And anyone who comes out, I'll just tell you from experience, you're right on the court. The Ducks like it when you get loud at the right times. College tennis is unique in that it's not an individual sport. It's a team sport. And so as matches wrap up around the Student Tennis Center, you'll see athletes and spectators gravitating toward the one court that's probably going to decide things. And I'll tell you, it's a fun environment. It's a really fun environment to see because it's unique to the college scene. Nils Schielander has told me that he hopes people are tailgating for these tennis matches coming up, which is pretty fun. Now, on a larger scale, or an update, I should say, to our story from the 1984 to 85 poster. We still have it here in the studio for those of you that missed it yesterday. Chris gave this poster to me as a Christmas gift, Chris Clayton. And we got an update on where he found it. Chris found it at the Piccadilly Flea Market that they do at the Lane County Fairgrounds. So Scott was asking, where did he find this? Because you don't see posters that are in this good of shape very often. You can see on this particular poster it was pinned up in someone's room at one point, but now has been framed. And I had to shout out the fan that Chris bought it from. We're going to put it up in the studio. We're thinking right next to the 2-Minute Life Story leaderboard. But Chris told me that the fan also gave him a Danny Ainge rookie card, which I thought I could know. I told Chris that I had to tell everybody the update to the story because what a fun connection. Like Chris, now in his second year as the voice of the Oregon women's basketball team, he's just walking around the flea market at the Lane County Fairgrounds, sees it, and you just don't find cool memorabilia like this around very often. And like I said yesterday, we have a few of them here in the studio, and it's always a good opportunity for us to add to the studio walls. Admittedly, we do not have very much space left, if any space left on the walls in the studio. We've accumulated some good stuff over the 7 years that we've been. Shyla, one of our interns, just pointed to the ceiling. You think we could get away with it? Could hang it on the ceiling without setting off any sprinklers? I don't know. That takes some engineering that might be beyond me. But anyway, it was a really fun update for all of us, and I thank Chris for finding that. We're going to touch on men's basketball when we come back, but first, I think a lot of broadcasters around the country will be talking about this today. Longtime Milwaukee Brewers broadcaster Bob Uecker died today at the age of 90, the team announced. Uecker served as the Brewers radio announcer since 1971, earned him a spot in the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. He was a recipient of the Ford C. Frick Award in 2003. A lot of people my age probably remember him not just as Bob Uecker, but as Harry Doyle in Major League. He got to play the broadcaster in that film franchise, and I tell you, that's a national treasure for America's pastime that we lost today. You talk about somebody that always seemed to make it fun when he was on the air. Man, we're going to miss Bob Uecker as he passed away today at the age of 90. When we come back, checking in on men's basketball. That's next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial. Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company. Bloomington, Illinois.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Duck Insider continues from the Country Financial Studios in 1 minute on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
August was born 3 pounds, 9.8 ounces. When I first saw him, it was a whole range of emotions. There's stuff I still want to do. Being a young dad, it's not giving up. It's shifting. I looked through his eyes. I can envision the whole future with him already. To throw the first football to him, give him ice cream for the first time. My life is now devoted to his life.
Through all of fatherhood's firsts, never stop being a dad. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Final segment of Duck Insider presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. It's a Thursday. On tomorrow's program, Nate Biddle will join us in the Country Financial Studio. We actually already talked with him earlier this week. Great conversation with Nate Biddle. And then the men's basketball team met with the media actually right as we were going on the air today. So we'll have some men's basketball preview. A lot of focus on the big-time matchup with Purdue. Top 20 matchup between Oregon and Purdue. And to give you some context, in the Big Ten standings, as we sit here today, Thursday, January 16th, Michigan State is 6-0. Michigan is 5-0. Purdue is 6-1. Illinois is 5-2. Then it's Oregon and Wisconsin at 4-2 before you get into Indiana at 4-3, and then a bunch of teams that are 500 or worse. The loss to UCLA at home is stinging the Ducks right now because UCLA is sitting at 2-4 and 11-6 overall. That loss is stinging. It wasn't just the banked-in three that got the Ducks in that game. Dana Altman would tell you there were a ton of other mistakes that led to that point. But you talk about the Big Ten standings, and not just going for a conference championship, but to win and be seeded well in the conference tournament and in the NCAA tournament, you want to finish in the upper echelon of this league. Certainly the net rankings, they matter. Illinois currently is number 7 in the net rankings, the best Big Ten team. Then Michigan is number 10 in the net. Purdue is 15. Michigan State is 17. Oregon is 21. So talking about quad 1 victories, a chance at home to get a quad 1 win like the Ducks got against Maryland, who is at 23 in the net rankings. Oregon is 21. Purdue is sitting at 15 in the net rankings. Big time opportunity for the Ducks. I can't help but think, too, so Purdue, and I should go back. Purdue won last night at Washington 69-58. Did it with some good defense. That's a team that was in the Final Four last year. They're a different roster. No Zach Edey, different team. But I hope to see an awesome crowd at Matthew Knight Arena because this is the game. You win this one at home, this propels you potentially the rest of the year. You win this one at home, get into the top 15 in the net, yeah, big game ahead. A lot of men's basketball talk tomorrow. See you then.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is,